A while back, me and my friend Liam used to play this game called Warzone. And for those of you who don't know, first of all, me and Liam go way back since kindergarten. I'm talking graham crackers and everything. But also, Warzone is pretty much just a battle royale where a bunch of people drop into a map and just try to be the last person standing. However, Warzone was a little bit different. For one, the map was really huge and also scary and also unknown at times. It was actually so big there were points where you wouldn't even be traveling with your partner together. So when you're out there, you had to give yourself the best chance for survival. And inevitably, you were going to get attacked. And it's the same thing with life. No matter how much you prepare, inevitably you will be caught off guard, traveling without friends, or even just unexpectedly. Now, in the game, if you got attacked and took too much damage, you would go down and you would bleed out. Now, if you were alone, that means you were probably going to die. And funnily enough, life is also like this as well. If you're out traveling by yourself and not taking all the necessary precautions to get caught off guard, eventually you'll need some help. But what do you do if there's no one around you? Well, in Warzone, there was this thing called the self-revive, where if you went down and there was nobody around you, teammates or enemies, you could hide and then eventually you could pick yourself back up. It was always something you had in your back pocket just in case. I mean, it was always good to have one, whether you planned on winning or never going down in the first place. Wouldn't it be cool if there was something like that in real life? Well, it does exist, and I made it. Hi, my name is Kalitri, and my dream is to help as many people as possible wake up and continue chasing their dreams. If you like what you're hearing and you're excited to see more, hit that like button down below, subscribe, turn the bell on, and leave a comment. Today, we are going to be talking about the fresh start. Sometimes in life, whether you're traveling alone or with a group, you will go down. And in life, you don't get second chances, you make them. We need all the tools we can get to help survive this land. But the best tools you can get are the ones you make yourself. I'd like to introduce today's problem with a paradox. It is called the Region Beta Paradox. Now, just to make this simple, it goes like this. They say if you needed to travel 1 mile, you would walk it. But in this paradox, if you needed to travel more than 2 miles, you would just get in a car. This is actually a philosophical reflection upon life and hard times. You see, sometimes things really do need to get worse before they get better. It analogizes that if you're in a not so bad situation, you'll stay in it. In this case, this would be the under a mile. You know, you'd be walking, you'd be like, it's not so bad. But it states that if things got worse, the activation energy for change would be lower, meaning you would get into a car, and in this case, you would actually move out. Let's say it was a bad apartment, bad relationship, terrible job, whatever it is. The bottom line is that if it's not so bad, you might just be stuck in it. But if it gets worse, that might actually be what you're waiting on. So if you're in a not so bad situation, keep this in mind actually. It means that inevitably, it will have to get worse in order for you to change to make it better. I've been through this. For me, it was back in the winter of 2022 actually. I was living with 4 of my roommates and boy, it got cold. And when I mean cold, I mean thermostat 45 degrees inside the house. Cold. And I remember it was so cold you couldn't even move. Which wasn't bad, you know, we all had hoodies, we liked it cold. But then on top of that, this is where it went from not so bad to really worse. On top of that, one of my roommates at the time actually ended up moving out due to some issues they were dealing with. But because of that, we were all splitting rent and utilities 5 ways, and now it got bumped to 4 ways, which means everything got more expensive. And this is also when heat prices were through the roof. And like I said, we lived in a place for 5 people, so trying to heat a huge house for 5 people during peak winter hours was terrible. So for the most part, we had to keep the thermostat off. This went on for at least 2 months, but after the first couple weeks, I had had enough. I took some time, I sat down and I said, I'd never want this to happen again. So I worked hard and ensured that it wouldn't happen again. That was my going from not so bad to worse moment. That was the final push I needed to craft my very own fresh start. If you feel like you're maybe in a not so bad situation, or if you feel like once again your life is crumbling all around you, you found a good video today. This principle I'm about to teach you is the #1 thing you can use to prepare yourself in terms of crises, disaster, or even inevitable letdown. A fresh start is the self-revive we get in life. A fresh start is that self-revive, or at least in this case, that second chance you can create for yourself in life. It's the one thing you should be looking for when everything around you is crumbling and falling apart. You're not digging through the rubble looking for that half-eaten spoon of peanut butter you left yesterday. You're looking for your kit so you can hit the ground running. Now, let's all be honest here. During the not-so-bad situation, we could all see the end coming. We saw it miles away, and yet we just chose not to do anything, one via the region beta paradox, but again, if it's not so bad, why change it? This is the number one tool you can use to arm yourself during those not so bad times. So again, when the inevitable things got worse situation happens, you will be prepared. Let's take me for example again. A couple months ago, I knew I wanted my life to be different when I turned 21. I had been dopamine detoxing, I had been doing the research into what I should and shouldn't be eating, what routines should look like, just all of the things. I knew I wanted my life to be completely different. This has been going on for a while now. It started around March and finally led to its culmination up until about October. But even between those moments, it was nothing but ruthless and endless preparation. But during that time, life had still not been pretty easy on me. My car had been in and out of the shop multiple times, plus I had to take the bus to work for a week. The money was never looking right when I needed it, and I hadn't been making progress in my physique aspirations. In other words, we had fallen off. Or, to stick with the analogy, I'd been knocked down. But of course, it wasn't that bad. I mean, technically, as long as I went to work, I had my bills paid, you know what I mean? I had things where I never really had to worry as long as I did, but there was always that something yearning for me deeply, something where I knew I wanted more. But also there was something where I could feel the end coming. But it wasn't enough just for me to coast. Here, we prescribe to the theory, if you're not growing, you're dying. So, I spent some weeks and I spent some months and I took the time to research everything how I wanted essentially my new life to look like. Everywhere from my finances to how I wanted to look, to how I wanted to handle my hygiene moving forward, how I wanted to handle my gym schedule, what I wanted these videos to look like, my mastery, my inspirations, my goals, my dreams, everything. I bought courses on spirituality, entrepreneurship. I looked up deep researches and watched podcasts on what food is and what nutrition is and how it works and what you should be looking for. I spent ruthless and copious amounts of time thinking and planning and making sure that if this did happen and when this did happen, I wouldn't have to look back. But even more so, I had all the blueprints right in front of me. I slowly trialed and errored my way into what I thought would work, and eventually, it was time. I set a date I could work towards, and for me, I decided it was going to be my birthday. So, when my birthday came, I looked at everything I had done up until this point, I released myself from my old life, reclaimed my new one, and hit the ground running. Sometimes in life, you will get knocked down, and there won't be anyone to help you. You will have been traveling alone, and before you knew it, you fell into a pitfall. It happens. Sometimes you can see the end coming, but you won't prepare for the inevitable meltdown because again, it's not so bad. It's not so bad, but no more. No longer will you feel that inevitable lack of control, but even more so, once again, here we like to preach about autonomy so you can regain that control and agency over your life. Because now you are armed with one of the greatest tools I could ever give you in this journey so far. A fresh start. A second chance even. But not just a second chance, one you created, a backup plan, a contingency. All a fresh start is you choosing to define what your life is going to look like after the collapse. Giving yourself a chance to live life on your terms you created. Or starting over if you feel trapped, on your terms. When there is nothing left and everything before you is gone, your horizons are as wide as they've ever been. The only burdens you have are the ones you place on yourself. So now, when we see the end, we won't run, we won't freeze. We'll actually hasten its arrival because we will have crafted our fresh start in new life so much better than what we were living. We can't even wait for this to end so we can truly start over again. Like I said, we will be leaving you with a call to action from now on. So again, whether right now you're in a not so bad situation or even if your situation is nearing its nuclear point of meltdown, here are some things we can do. Number one, you always need to take ownership and control of all of your choices in all of your lives. If you haven't seen that video, it's on the channel, go watch it. By taking control of your life like we've previously talked about, this can help you identify not only the potential pitfalls, but it can also help you build your different levels of how you want your new life to look That way, so you can attack your new life from all facets. So whatever you didn't like about what you were doing, now is your time to change it. So if you're in one of these situations, remember this. First of all, always leave yourself an out. If you feel like you got yourself trapped, you probably are. Start looking for an escape. Or if you feel the walls closing in, now's your time to start planning your escape. So whether you plan on jumping ship soon or taking a sledgehammer to knock all the walls down, here's what you need to do. If you're a digital person, you can use this on Google Docs. If you're a handwritten person, go out and buy all the notebooks and colored pens. Take control of your life. Own all of your choices. That's step number 1. The second step is create what you want your new life to look like. For some, it'll be easier. If you didn't like what you were doing, create the exact opposite of what you would rather be doing and then do it. All that means is that if you're terrible with money, make a money plan. Say, this is what we want our money to look like by this time, do the research, and then select a start date and then an end date. Simple as that. If you're out of shape, don't work out, same sort of deal. If you haven't been working out, your first steps will be start moving, get to a certain weight goal, eat this way, do these things, plan, research. But again, these are all tailor-made to you and your goals. That's the uniqueness about this. But also the best part. Everyone can have a fresh start and look completely different. Because in true essence, it's about the progress. It's about the progress of moving forward and no longer feeling helpless. For those of you who may be too lazy to even do it, you could pay someone else to do it. Product coming soon. That's going to do it for me today, y'all. Yes, I got a haircut and I also accidentally shaved off all of my beard, but we're working on it. I really hope y'all enjoyed. Please be sure to hit that like button down below, subscribe if you are new, hit the bell so you always get notified when I upload content, and leave a comment about anything else y'all want to know about. Currently next in the pipeline, we're either going to be doing some more agency videos or I might switch into some fitness content. We're not really sure yet. But remember, you are what you eat, so digest something good. I'll see y'all next time. Peace.